Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to First at 4. I'm Don Jorgensen.
And I'm Kelly Volk. A major winter storm is set to sweep across KELOLAND this week. That means people are out preparing now for the snow and ice. We found Christy Marchetti picking up a bag of snow melt at a Lewis store on her lunch break.
It sounds like it's going to be pretty deep. Not quite sure yet, but got to be ready for, it sounds like, a foot.
Coming up tonight on KELOLAND News at 5, we talk with Lewis about its soaring winter sales this weekend.
All right, now for the latest track on the storm, let's send it over to meteorologist Adam Rudd. Hey, Adam.
Hey, well, it certainly has been quite the quiet run of weather today for a majority of the region. I talked about it at the top of the show being the calm before the storm, and that is exactly what it can be described as. Now, that being said, a couple of locations have already gotten in on some snow. Deadwood is a prime example of that, where they've had a winter weather advisory in place. Now, this is completely separate from what we're watching for the middle of the week. This was just a little impulse riding along a cold front that made its presence known in the Black Hills. But still, it's something that's going to let us know that, yeah, this is on its way. And more of that even as we head into Wednesday and Thursday especially. Compare that to what we have here in Falls Park. It was actually a very nice day today. Temperatures were near 40 earlier this afternoon. Now we are at 37 at the airport, a westerly breeze at 16 miles per hour. 40 Pierre, Chamberlain, Winter, 41 in Phillip, 35 even toward Rapid City, Custer at 34, 40 also your number down in Yankton, 37 in Huron, but some 20s, Aberdeen to Ortonville, Watertown as well at 28, and that wind is starting to pick up a little bit. It's been breezy, at times outright windy, the latter being most applicable along the North Dakota border between Buffalo and Sisseton. We have a 16 mile per hour wind here in Sioux Falls for what it's worth, and we have had gusts of 35 to 45 miles per hour at times, even a recent gust of 48 miles per hour up towards Sisseton. So there's that cold front, and like I said, what we've seen out west has just been a little impulsive energy riding along and behind that cold front that's been putting out a couple of inches of snow out toward the hills. But once this clears the area, that's going to allow some of that cold air to already come into place. Now, we do have that winter weather advisory I mentioned before. This is Northern Hills. That goes until 5 p.m. Mountain Time. But this winter weather advisory here from the Mulbridge area, south and east through Watertown, Brookings, Marshall, and into Pipestone, that's part of round 1. This goes into effect on noon tomorrow through 6 a.m. Wednesday. And then we have, well, this. Winter storm watch still until Thursday morning in yellow. Winter storm warnings for south central and western KELOLAND for that same time frame as we watch out for this potentially very disruptive winter storm. We'll have details on that in a little bit.
Okay, thanks, Adam. And remember to download the KELOLAND Storm Tracker app to your smart devices to stay on top of this winter storm. You can watch radar, and you can also check out the hour-by-hour forecast. Also, make sure to watch our clothesline page on KELOLAND.com to see if your child's school is closed or delayed this week. The lists will also scroll at the bottom of your screen if schools start to close. And if you happen to take any pictures or videos of the snow in your area, we'd love to see them. Just email them to email them and your photos to videos that you share at KELOLAND.com or message us on Facebook.
This President's Day, many people are sharing their thoughts and prayers for the nation's 39th Commander-in-Chief, President Jimmy Carter.
He is receiving hospice care at his home in Plains, Georgia. Mike Helgren spoke with those honoring the Carter legacy.
Here at the Jimmy Carter National Historical Park in Plains, Georgia, we found admirers from near and far, all coming to honor the former president's legacy.
To me, I mean, he's my uncle, and I think he's the best.
Leanne Smith is President Carter's niece and lives in her Aunt Rosalind's childhood home. She says her uncle's impact is unmatched.
I think the peace and the love for people, and you just want to know, is it going to continue, you know? At the level I think he promoted it.
The Historical Park and Museum at Carter's Old High School expects a high volume of visitors this particular President's Day, as the 98-year-old receives hospice care in his home.
He has led a good life. He has served his Lord, and as he says, he's ready to go. He's very peaceful about it.
Relatives say here around town you don't see one Carter without the other, referring to former First Lady Rosalind Carter at her husband's side for 76 years.
They have done so much for this town, for this state, for the country and the world.
Park Superintendent Jill Stuckey is a close friend of the Carters and expects the former president will remain tough until the end.
Never count him out. He is amazingly strong and resilient.
The Carter baton of loving service will ultimately pass to the next generations.
It's just time for us to step up.
Continuing a life of leading by example. Mike Helgren, CBS News, Plains, Georgia.
At age 98, Carter is the longest-lived American president.
President Carter was in South Dakota on several occasions, both as a candidate and as president. Here he is visiting a farm west of Hartford back in 1976.
A farmer himself, Carter often spoke on ag issues. In 1994, he talked with KELOLAND News while helping to build 30 homes on the Cheyenne River Reservation.
We came to South Dakota because of its vital commitment already to habitat and for the destitute need of the Native Americans in the Eagle Butte area.
Coming up at 6, we will hear more about Carter's visits to South Dakota and what local leaders of Habitat for Humanity have to say about his impact on that organization.
South Dakota taxpayers could pay millions of dollars in unexpected costs caused by inflation and workforce challenges that are hitting the construction industry. The 9 bills have been filed in the current legislative session to increase funding for construction projects. Those bills would increase spending by $62 million for university labs and dorms, a new athletic arena, the state health lab, and some other projects across the state. To see how much construction costs have risen and when inflation could ease for the industry, check out this South Dakota Newswatch article on KELOLAND.com.
There will soon be a second Freddy's Custard and Steak Burgers in Sioux Falls. The fast food chain will open another location tomorrow along Louise Avenue near the Empire Mall. The first restaurant opened on the east side of the city at Dolly Farms almost a year ago.